Welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. He is the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. It is our pleasure to welcome Pierre Poilievre onto the program. Mr. Poilievre, welcome to the show.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
And Mr. Poilievre, can I bring down the formality? Can I call you Pierre? It's local radio. I like to bring it down a notch.
Yes, for God's sakes. Call me Pierre.
Great, Pierre. So here's where I want to start off with. A few days ago, Mark Miller, immigration minister, he commented on a report of a 20-year-old Pakistani man who was planning a mass shooting at a Jewish center in Brooklyn in support of ISIS. He arrived in Canada in 2023 on a student visa, and responding to journalists, he talked about you. I want you to listen to what he had to say about you.
And actually, it's dangerous to comment any further. Any defense lawyer is looking at elected officials and their comments about this case, salivating at any comment that is made that could be seen as compromising the judicial process. This is something that any responsible politician needs to be aware of. It's highly careless of Pierre Poilievre and his team to be firing their mouths off again. Any defense attorney is looking at that and just chomping at the bit to be able to make that part of their process and perhaps even compromise the case. Mr. Poilievre has experienced prosecutors on his team. They should be counseling him to shut his mouth like any responsible politician in this case.
So I'd love to know, Pierre, your response to a member of parliament, immigration minister, telling you to shut your mouth. Again, his words, not mine, on a subject that I think a lot of Canadians are worried about, what's happening with the border. Talk to me about this.
Well, of course, he'd love all Canadians to shut up. He and his boss, Trudeau, have been trying to shut up Canadians with censorship laws, with intimidation and insults like that now for 9 years. Why? Not because they care about any criminal prosecution. If they care about that, they wouldn't be allowing likely terrorists into our country. No, because they don't want to be criticized. They don't want us to point out that under the Trudeau NDP Liberal government, they're bringing in people with terrorist ties without any vetting. This is the second case in 2 months. We have this other guy from Syria who was allegedly caught on film cutting up a human body on a crucifix as part of an ISIS ritual, which was online before he gained access to Canada and is now a citizen under the Trudeau government. That alleged terrorist, has now been charged with planning a massive attack in Toronto. Well, if I were the Liberal immigration minister, I would want to shut up everyone too, because then I could avoid accountability. But that's not my job. My job is not to protect Trudeau and his incompetent immigration ministers from accountability. My job is to prosecute. You want to talk about prosecutors? I will prosecute this government for putting in danger the lives of Canadians by allowing known, alleged, ISIS-linked terrorists onto our soil. And when I'm Prime Minister, we will vet people and we will shut out terrorists so that our country is once again safe.
Do you feel it's fair? Because sometimes you get accused of importing the quote-unquote American-style politics. Do you think that's fair when you hear language like that from Mark Miller telling you to shut up and some other stuff we heard this week from other Liberal ministers? Do you think that criticism of you is fair?
No. Justin Trudeau has been probably the nastiest, most partisan prime minister we've ever had. He calls his critics small fringe minorities. He called a conservative MP a sack of human excrement. He falsely accused a Jewish MP who's the granddaughter of Holocaust survivors of standing with the Nazi flag, something she never did. This is the kind of nasty politics that Justin Trudeau has imported from abroad, and we're going to stand up to it. My approach is common sense Canadian consensus, which is to say, axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. That is the mainstream centrist consensus that we had before the radical departure we've seen over the last 9 years of NDP Liberals.
Can you tell us why you have a sense of urgency here for having an election right away? I've seen some polling where the country may be split on that subject of an election now. Why do you have a sense of urgency as to why we need an election sooner than later?
Canadians can't afford another year of this costly government, which is taxing your food, punishing your work, doubling your housing cost, and unleashing crime and chaos in your community. The 25% of kids who are going to school hungry, they can't afford to wait. The 2 million Canadians lined up at food banks, they can't afford to wait. The 66% of young people who believe they'll never be able to afford a home cannot afford to wait another year. The people who are dying and getting slaughtered by career rampant criminals, they can't afford another year of this. We need a carbon tax election now. Give Canadians hope that once again we can bring home the country we love, where hard work earns a powerful paycheck that buys affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods.
If that is the case, is there an opportunity for you to get to a confidence vote that puts everyone in a very difficult position? I'm thinking of the NDP, and we heard Jagmeet Singh yesterday saying he's out on the carbon tax. So, obviously you're against the carbon tax. Now the NDP has joined in on that. Of course, here in Quebec, we've got Yves-François Blanchet in the Bloc. Quebec has a cap and trade system. Could you not craft a vote that touches upon those three things, the NDP's position, the Bloc's position, your position, to force that election now?
That's what I'm working on. I will have a motion to trigger a carbon tax election. That motion will be put forward at the earliest opportunity that the costly government allows. And we will put immense pressure on the both sellout Jagmeet Singh and the separatists to represent Canadians and vote down this costly, disastrous Trudeau government so that we can bring home a new government that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
We're with Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Pierre, my biggest concern as a voter is wealth. The stats on real GDP per capita, it's really staggering what we're seeing right now. The difference between Canada and the U.S., it's like a $22,000 gap. And I'm also hearing that at the end of this year, the OECD nations, Canada may end the year underneath the average when it comes to GDP per capita. So I'd love to know from you, if you were Prime Minister, what is something you would do to have quick impact on closing that ever-widening gap?
Well, one thing we can do immediately is axe the carbon tax. According to the Finance Department of Canada, the carbon tax has deleted $25 billion of annual GDP. That works out to about $1,400 for every family in Canada, a number that is expected to skyrocket over the next 5.5 years as the NDP Liberal plan quadruples the tax to 61 cents a litre. So axing the carbon tax makes it more affordable for truckers to ship goods, for farmers to produce food, for example, forestry companies to harvest timber for homes. All of that becomes more affordable when you have affordable, abundant energy. Second, we need to pass a bring-it-home tax cut, lowering taxes on work, investment, and making stuff here in Canada, so that when businesses buy equipment that produces more products, they get rewarded for that. And where workers who put in that extra shift earn a bonus or get a promotion, keep more of the fruits of their labor, so they'll want to produce more. Next, we need to fix the budget. That means capping government spending, cutting government bureaucracy, and finally, unleashing production of our resources. We have the biggest supply of natural resources per capita in the world. Let's repeal the anti-resource law C-69 and unleash massive production of energy, minerals, and other resources that can power the future and build our economy with powerful paychecks so that we can bring it home.
Can you also name, to get to the balanced budget side of things here, can you name a specific liberal spending program or government program that you would cut sooner than later?
Yes, I'm going to cut the consulting budget. It's up by almost 100%. to $16 billion, $17 billion a year. That works out to $1,000 for every family. I will slash that budget. I will get rid of the Green Slush Fund. This is a corporate welfare program that gives out grants. It's riddled with fraud. I'll get rid of the Infrastructure Bank, which has existed for 7 years and hasn't completed a single infrastructure project. I will get rid of, I will be cutting back on the federal bureaucracy. I will cut foreign aid. I don't want to send our money out of Canada when we can't feed and house our people here at home. And I'll put some of those savings back into our military. The list goes on. I will be cutting the massive waste and mismanagement that we see in this morbidly obese federal government.
Now, Pierre, it's unlikely you'll make a breakthrough in Quebec on Monday in the LaSalle-Émard-Verdun by-election, but I'd love to know, what is your message to Montrealers? When you look at poll projections, they are content on supporting the Liberals. What is your message to those voters in Montreal? Because eventually there may be a breakthrough coming.
Look around yourself. Montreal is falling apart. There's crime and chaos in the streets. You know, the Benoit Labre Center has been turned into a drug den right next to a school. Our kids are threatened while, people are doing open drug use and doing sex acts right open in the middle of the street, and not allowed by the government, encouraged by the government. People are no longer safe in Montreal. The housing costs have doubled. Taxes are running out of control. My message to Montrealers is, if you want to bring home the country you knew and still love, then you have to vote for the common sense Conservatives. We're going to axe taxes, lower income tax, so you bring home more of each dollar you earn and hard work actually pays off. We're going to lock up the criminals with jail and not bail. We're going to bring treatment and recovery to bring our loved ones home drug-free. We're going to secure the borders to keep illegal drugs and guns out of Canada. That is how we're going to bring home the country where hard work earns a powerful paycheck that buys affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods.
On the safety thing, to wrap us up here, yesterday in Kingston, Ontario, 2 people were killed, another injured near an encampment around a safe injection site. How far would you go as Prime Minister to force types of treatments, force people who are living on streets into other types of resources? And would you be prepared to use the notwithstanding clause for that?
Well, first of all, I will cut off taxpayer-funded opioids. The NDP Liberal government, supported by the Bloc Québécois, have a program where they spend your tax dollars giving out opioids, vending that they have funded, where addicts go and press their hand on a button and they get free drugs. That ends. Secondly, I will reverse the implicit legalization of drugs. Trudeau has told federal prosecutors, don't enforce drug laws. And that's why nobody ever gets arrested, even when they're violating criminal code and controls Drugs and Substances Act rules. So I will ban the drugs. And finally, we will invest in treatment. That way, you're not going to have to worry about your kid walking past a center where someone is shooting heroin or fentanyl. We're going to shut that down, put those people into treatment and recovery services to get them off drugs and bring our loved ones home drug-free. The other thing we're going to do is stand up to these Hamas protesters that have been terrorizing our Jewish communities across Canada. Our Jewish community deserves to feel safe. People should be allowed to wear their kippah, Star of David, and the mezuzah on their door in pride, dignity, and security, and we're going to make this a country where that is the case again.
Mr. Poilievre, Pierre, thank you very much for being generous with your time with us this morning. I hope to talk to you again real soon.
Let's bring it home.
That's Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. When we return on the Elias Makos Show, I'll get some reaction from you. You can give us a call, by the way, 514-790-0800.